Time, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time, step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo, let yourself go. Our time, high time, gotta go big time. This is it, yo, never take no fight time. Grind time, take it to the street time. Turn the roof off, get loco. Game time, win time, we gon' bring it home time. No regrets now, let it all go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder.
All right, welcome to Mountain Bears tonight. I'm Aeson, and of course, with me tonight in the cubby seat is Techie with Moses, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Oh, I'm here. I enjoyed a lovely lasagna with no noodles. Actually delicious.
I know. You had a lot of fun with that.
I did.
You're really excited about the egg wraps.
Yeah, egg wraps.
Like, I keep wanting to call them egg noodles, and then it's like, no. That's how you're using them, not what they are.
Right, and it's not a lot of prep. It's not a lot of craziness. It's not a lot of, do this to make that to do this. It's, no, cut them up to the size you want, throw them in like when you do your regular noodles and boil or bake. So my carb-freer life just got easier. Thank you, Nina from TikTok.
Well, it's not carb. Well, it's carb-freer. It's like, it's not no carb. It's just low carb. Like, try to minimize the carb counts.
Right.
So, yeah, no, that's all going pretty well. Though we had a lovely
today.
Do I now?
Well, you go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say we had the lovely experience of looking at the wall of keto things today and finding keto coffee and keto creamer.
Yeah.
So at one point the coffee shop might be a keto zone. Like, just saying, guys, it might be.
Well, it might be. But, it was very interesting to take you shopping with me. And for you to learn where I would get most of my groceries at.
I know, like you're really trusting of Big Lots for groceries. I just gotta say, you're really
trusting of Big Lots for health food.
Yeah, but I still have a moment with that. Like, sorry, I effed up years ago and bought mayonnaise that had already expired at a Big Lots, and I have not had confidence to really buy food there. Like, I'm just always afraid I'm gonna forget, or I'm not gonna pay attention, or it's gonna be the wrong thing, and I'm just gonna F it up.
Right.
And it's like, well, yay, I saved a lot of money on something that is either not what I wanted, is bad, has a leak, something. Like, I just, that mayonnaise experience was real bad.
Right.
Like, there is nothing worse than expired mayonnaise. I do not think.
Well, no, but at the same time, and, I check dates, check that stuff. Today we got me powdered PB2 for $10 for this huge half gallon. I'm like, yep, we're taking this. Yep, we're taking this.
Okay.
Yeah,
like, you did find good deals.
I did. And I last night with the TikTok hack.
Oh, yes. Yeah, oh my God. The things you find to say to me during sexy time.
It wasn't sexy time. It was debriefing time.
It was sexy time.
Okay.
We were starting sexy time. We had finished debrief time. We were starting sexy time. And you just decide to throw out there. Oh, I found out something interesting today. And guys, it was interesting. It really was. But this did not go straight into the sexy time he was ready for. It went a totally different direction. And it was like, wait, what? Like, I had to work through the engineering. And it was like, okay, now I'm good.
Yeah.
But it was a good 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. It was a good 15, 20 minutes of, blowing your mind with interesting information.
Mm-hmm. So take it away. What did you learn?
I learned that the mason jar and a blender pitcher can be used in the same fashion.
Yes. And moreover, that the bottom of both the top of a mason jar and the bottom of a blender are the exact same screw thread.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, what? What? That can't be. Oh, and then I thought it through, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Like, I expect you to go to the sink and check it out and see that, yep, it's there.
Well, no, I know it has a screw thread on it. I'm just sitting here going, until I have a mason jar, I can't compare and go, oh my God, who caught on? Who caught on? That's what I want to know. Like, is this just like a little bit of knowledge that just people had and then forgot to tell anyone that, by the way, the bottom of your mason or the top of your mason jar and the bottom of your blender, same screw thread.
It's the same, works the same.
Yeah. So effectively, and now granted, at your own risk, much like the TikToker said, at your own risk, but you can effectively turn your regular standard, I bought it for nothing at a clearance store blender, or your high-end blender, whatever floats your boat.
As long as it's got a standard bottom.
Yeah, as long as it's got a standard bottom. You can turn that into one of the neutral blenders effectively.
Like, you have to it doesn't have it does the ice. It does wonderful.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's just the fact that like people have been going and like, because like you can see them side by side on the shelf, and it's like the $20 blender and the $80 neutral blender, and it's like we paid, or people we hadn't bet the bullet yet. Funny, the neutral bullet, it's hilarious. But we hadn't bit the bullet yet and bought one. And I'm like, like people are paying, we would have paid an extra $50 just for someone else to have made an extra special mason jar that screws into the same thread that's always been there. And rebadged basically a $20 blender with a mason jar instead of a pitcher, into an $80 product.
Yeah. Now, you're not talking about the number of people I am seeing move back to using mason jars for standard containers.
Oh yeah, like yeah, I'm down with that.
They've got lids for drinking. They've got lids for your creamer. They've got lids to turn them into pitchers.
Well, and then I showed up with the lids to make it a sippy cup with a straw hole.
Yeah, but that's for the wide mouse. I'm talking the standard mason jar.
I know, but still.
Yeah, but
I think they do make a smallmouth version.
I know they make the sippy cup version for the standard mason jar.
Yeah, I think they may make one for the small ones too.
Right.
So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought they did.
Right. So that'll be interesting as we play with that. I think it's interesting, a lot of the things that we can do. Next week, I'm going to be trying out some more stuff. I might even film some of the stuff I tried out. But no, I got stuff to make my power shakes with today. Picked it up at Big Lots. Was really upset they didn't have the protein powder, but I'm still technically good on it, so we're good there.
Well, they had it just in vanilla, not chocolate.
Yeah, Yeah, I do chocolate, not French vanilla. So the Supreme Court is in session, and we do know that there's a lot of trans bills going through. We're not talking about them. And the reason we're not talking about them is we don't have enough information on all sides to understand them. So be paying attention to your legislator and calling them and telling them, leave them alone. But there are some things coming down from the Supreme Court.
Yeah, so there's 2 Supreme Court cases. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's take on the overtime one.
All right. So Supreme Court rules Helix Energy oil rig worker who makes $200,000 is entitled to overtime. So the Supreme, and this is from CNBC. So the Supreme Court ruled that an offshore oil rig worker who earned more than $200,000 annually and who was classified by his company as a, quote, bona fide executive is entitled to overtime pay for having worked more than 40 hours per week. Helix Energy Solutions Group argued that the worker, Michael Hewitt, was not entitled to overtime under the Fair Labor Standards Act, despite the fact that he regularly worked 84 hours per week on the rigs. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court noted that the case hinged on the issues of whether Hewitt, whose job is called tool pusher, was paid on a salary basis. The majority opinion, written by Justice Elena Kagan, noted that Hewitt's biweekly paycheck amounted to his daily pay rate multiplied by the number of days he worked in the pay period. The Supreme Court ruled Wednesday that an offshore oil rig worker who so that was the quick summary, and that basically covers it. But now it goes on to say that this decision could result in an enormous windfall for workers in a variety of occupations, said Lou Perchman, a New York City employment attorney who has handled more than 300 cases involving the FLSA, but who was not involved in this case. The Supreme Court has sent a message to all workers paid on a day rate basis that they are entitled to overtime after 40 hours of work, Perchman said. Yeah. It's kind of a big deal with the number of companies that really love doing salary exempt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious. Do I know?
Or day rating them, like, extras are paid a day rate.
Right. Well, and I wonder how that would, not that I'm sure a statute of limitations has run out for me, but like, I wonder how that would work out if your company actually hourly rated you.
Yeah.
Like, if I had less than 40 hours in a week, or quite frankly, they didn't even really care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was more so if I took PTO, I could literally do that in 1 hour increments.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were out for a day, I had to take PTO to cover it in set hour blocks. Like, tell them I'm taking the full day, all 8 hours. I wonder, because see, that was always my thought on salary exempt, was that, that's not really how that worked. Mm-hmm. Like, they gave us PTO in hours, they decreased it in hours. They made us take it by the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think it will be interesting to watch this fall. And when I say that, it's because there's a lot of companies that don't pay you by hour. They salary, they just said that salary employees over 40 hours have to be paid overtime.
If they consider your pay either, based on an increment.
No.
Not just for the year.
They just said that salary employees are 40 hours a week.
Oh, this is true.
So anything over 40 hours a week is now overtime.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I got to say, that's a surprising decision. I did not know that one was going to cross boundaries.
Right. Well, and it crossed a lot of boundaries from, the liberal, normally the court is liberal or whatever. Some of the conservatives come over and go like, nope, you work more than 40 hours a week, you get paid.
And I think that's very, very, very fair.
Right.
Because it's been a long-standing joke about salary employed,
Mhm.
or being a salary employee, that effectively you go from being a wage slave to just a slave.
Mhm.
As in before, when you're hourly, at
Mhm.
least, well, like, you're going to get worked to death, but
Right.
at least you're getting reimbursed for it to something that can
Right.
work out to a reasonable level, because you accepted the pay rate, and then you get time and a half, or
Right.
double overtime. Versus no company ever puts their employees on salary
Mhm.
with the real intention that you only work
Right.
40 hours a week.
Right.
That's when your job just went to at least 45.
Mhm.
So I wonder how many companies are just going to go and back pay before their employees have time to go sue.
Good question. It'd be interesting to see if you get a check in the mail.
I think we're well past that.
7 years, baby. 7 years.
13. That's when I last worked there, was
I
13
know,
years
but
ago.
I believe it's 7 years before that you can recover from.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. All
Yeah. Some
right.
people may be getting a giant windfall, and some businesses may be losing their shirts.
Yep. All right. This one's yours. Techie all the way.
Oh, okay. So the Supreme Court could reshape the internet as you know it. So this is from CNN Business.
Mm-hmm.
So Justice Samuel Alito of the U.S. Supreme Court asked this week what may be, to millions of average internet users, the most relatable question to come out of a pair of high-stakes oral arguments about the future of social media. Would Google collapse and the internet be destroyed? Alito asked a Google attorney on Tuesdays if YouTube, and therefore Google, were potentially liable for the content its users posted. Alito's question aimed to cut through the jargon and theatrics of a nearly 3-hour debate over whether YouTube can be sued for algorithmically recommending videos created by the terrorist group ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
His question sought to explore what might really happen in a world where the court rolls back a 27-year-old liability shield, allowing tech platforms to be sued over how they host and display videos, forum posts, and other user-generated content. The Google case, as well as a related case argued the next day involving Twitter, are viewed as pivotal because the outcome could have ramifications for websites large and small. And, as Justice Brett Kavanaugh observed, the digital economy with all sorts of effects on workers and consumers, retirement plans, and what have you. The litigation could have vast implications for everything from online restaurant reviews to likes and retweets to the coding of new applications. Though the justices this week seemed broadly hesitant to overturn or significantly narrow those legal protections, the possibility remains that the court may limit immunity for websites in ways that could reshape what users see in their apps and browsers, or, in Google words, upend the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing though. So okay, let's just finish this one out. So passed in 1996, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act sought to foster the growth of the early internet. Faced with the technological revolution it wanted to nurture, Congress created a special form of legal immunity for websites so they could develop uninhibited by lawsuits that might suffocate the ecosystem before it had a chance to flourish. In the time since, companies ranging from AOL to Twitter have invoked Section 230 to nip user content lawsuits in the bud, arguing, usually successfully, that they are not responsible for the content their users create. For decades, courts have interpreted Section 230 to give broad protections to websites. The legislation's original authors have repeatedly said their intent was to give websites the benefit of the doubt and encourage innovation in content moderation. But as large online platforms have become more central to the country's political and economic affairs, policymakers have come to doubt whether that shield is still worth keeping intact, at least in its current form. Democrats say the law has given websites free pass to overlook hate speech and misinformation. Republicans say it lets them suppress right-wing viewpoints. The Supreme Court isn't the only one reviewing Section 230. Congress and the White House have also proposed changes to the law. The legislation to update Section 230 has consistently stalled.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so yeah, 230 is a fun one.
Right.
And in short, I think it's the 1-2 combo.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the content exists.
Right.
And originally the idea of moderation would be to, take content that you know to be inaccurate, false, or otherwise, and move that content somehow away. Like to reduce its viewership, to turn it off, to delete the comment, to, take care of the users who posted it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And it actually stops people from leaving feedback because it makes you liable for it. Meaning that all those whiny clients of mine that didn't like hearing that your boyfriend shit and you need to get rid of him and left me a 1-star, I technically could go sue them for.
Potentially.
Yes.
Granted, that depends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moreover, on an individual basis, you can always sue the individual person leaving the review.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you can't do under 230 is like if it's a Yelp review, if it's a review on a psychic network platform, if it's a review on Amazon, the company cannot itself be sued. You can't sue Amazon because your product got a shitty review.
Right.
And they did nothing, or they didn't act quickly enough, or the damage was already done. Any more than, your local restaurant can go sue Yelp and recover damages because their users went and said, oh, this is the worst restaurant ever. They support hate and violence, like blah, 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 blah. And arguably none of that's true.
Right.
You can still sue the individual who leaves the comment.
Mm-hmm.
You can always, always, always. You are liable for what you say.
Mm-hmm.
What the law is about is that, no, you're not liable for being a tech company that creates a place to do it. So if you're Yelp, you create Yelp reviews. You have a bunch of users signed up to use your Yelp site.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave a review, and that review is inaccurate, misleading, in bad faith, etc. You can sue the user whose information Yelp will gladly give you.
Right.
Because, Yelp just needs a subpoena and they will grab both ankles. But you cannot
Right.
turn around and sue Yelp itself.
Right. Or
because Yelp's like, hey, our user created that. We didn't do it.
Exactly. But there's other effects to the internet here listed, and they've been specifically argued. And I find it interesting, some of them. Microsoft said that if Section 230 no longer protects algorithms, that it could jeopardize the ability to suggest new job openings to users of LinkedIn or connect software developers to interesting and useful software projects on the online code repertoire GitHub. Craigslist would have to shut down because it couldn't show you by region or by what you're looking for. If websites become liable for automatic recommendations, it could affect newsfeed style content rankings, automated friends and post suggestions, search autocomplete, and other methods by which websites display information to its users and other companies have said.
Okay. I see. Here's the thing. I think that's a little bit of hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
Because that assumes an all or nothing.
Right.
And I don't think anyone's looking for all or nothing.
Right.
I think we're looking for a legal change
mm-hmm.
that would strike an intelligent balance in terms of algorithms.
Right.
Specifically.
Right.
And how content is curated for users.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's fundamentally what happens is
right.
The reason you see ISIS posts, for
right.
instance, would be because something tells the algorithm that you will appreciate this post.
Right.
All right, this is going back to the company and going, okay, that's not a good thing.
Right.
Like, you really don't want to do that.
Right.
And this would legally give some teeth to, seriously, you don't want to do that.
Right.
A lot of this, I'm sure, also goes back, at least in theory, though not quite the case covered, to things like Cambridge Analytica, in which literally so much misinformation was slamming the internet on Facebook and focused and targeted to a certain demographic of voters who were highly susceptible, based on an algorithm, to believe the misinformation. We had major problems with an election. And potentially that influence changed the actual outcome that would have been, but not for this interaction.
Right.
I think it's a reasonable fear and concern to have that Facebook can go, 230. Right. I am not responsible for what people create on my website. Because 230.
Right.
Like,
well, but see, they use that weirdly. And here's what I mean. They scream 230 about everything, but then go and, like, I don't know, take our newsfeed down, take our shows down. So, it's good for the gander, good for the goose is a problem.
Generally, the theory is that, like, if you are running a website and it has a public component, the idea is that, no, you are not directly responsible, legally speaking, for the content on your site within there are some narrow parameters. Like, if the content itself is illegal, while you can't be sued for that, it is required that you take it down.
Right.
And generally in good faith, you want to just take it down.
Right.
But actually having the legal teeth to look at someone and say, hi, we demand you take your content down. That's where this comes in. But it still gives that site the right. And again, if you look back at what Congress had actually said about their original intent, was to give sites, ample room for content moderation and innovation in content moderation. The idea was that sites would self-police in a way that was beneficial to the community.
Right.
Not in a way that was solely beneficial to the company.
Right.
So in essence, the reason that, say a pagan group sees its page disappear has more to do with, in terms of general community, your content is seen as objectionable. There's too many damn people complaining about it, and it's easier to take it the fuck down than to leave it up.
Right.
So if they run you off of the website, then they have less concerns and less problems being reported to them.
Right.
Than if they allow you to continue to foster and grow and have to continue to deal with that. Is that effectively they're getting pressured through constant reporting to take it out.
Right.
And they're making not the most innovative choice, certainly not, in the spirit of 230 idea, but the easiest choice is, do you want to deal with 20,000 people a day, and I'm making up numbers,
right,
reporting the same page on Facebook over and over and over and over and over, or do you want to just take the page down and be like, thanks for using our platform, we've removed your content, goodbye.
Right.
And not deal with 20,000 people reporting your content or that content.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of not really the spirit, but it does meet the letter
right
of what the law intended in terms of using it to foster innovative growth. It's really not the most innovative way to do it. It's the most lazy way to do it.
Right.
And it does have a lot of precedent as being, in short, the worst way to do it, because effectively you're turning around and you're marginalizing a community that, you know, is already a marginalized community because you're removing their access to a platform, and you're effectively positioning yourself with some of the worst people in the world.
Right.
In the sense that they would go through and oppress a minority. And typically that's what happens. It's why pagan pages get taken down. It is why LGBTQ pages get taken down. Like anyone that can be, as a group at least, found objectionable, usually to a Christian-based organization. Like, let's just get real. Then yeah, you're going to find yourself taken down.
Right. All right, guys, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about, I don't know, some C-list actor that's being an idiot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIE.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Van chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracybann.com, TracyBann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
All right.
All right, welcome back. Hi, Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it's a lot of weirdness for ISIS to be showing up in anybody's feed.
Well, yeah. Well, and generally, there's a cross-linking between the consumer base that is watching those videos.
Yeah.
And it is basically the tinfoil hat club.
Right.
Kind of mentality that you are more susceptible to believe. Basically, there is a certain portion of the population that, because of a variety of factors, are more susceptible to belief in fringe topics. They have a higher proliferation of people that read an article and become very involved in its subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes on to form part of their identity.
Right.
And they do not mind being told they're wrong because they like feeling more enlightened than you,
Mm-hmm.
based on these obscure, odd, strange things that they have discovered.
Right.
So,
and it's very weird.
yeah. This is part of the group that is, that thinks the Earth is flat. It has
So the cat would have already knocked everything off of it.
One cat.
Yeah.
We'd all be dead. It would have been a short time in the Garden of Eden.
Right.
Before.
Goodbye. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much.
But no, in all seriousness, yes, it's kind of the science of people who get into these fringe beliefs is actually kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not in that it's funny about them, not in the sense that it's fun that this happens to people, but like the specific triggers.
Well, I still want to know why I watch a lot of crime and mystery. I watch a lot of energy work and a lot of planner videos. How I get stuck on I don't know. Let's see what the common themes are. Muslim marriages and Muslim views of synagogues.
Yeah, you've gotten that one a lot.
Right.
I think it's a weird crossover. And I think it's because you are programmatically, you like the show Ancient Aliens.
Yes.
Okay, unfortunately, that moves you into Egyptology, which moves you into a broader Middle East region, that then inadvertently just starts thinking that you love everything.
Right.
That has to do with that area. Like your goal is to go live in a pyramid because it's the Middle East and there's one every 5 feet. So the world tells us it's what it seems like.
I don't want to move back to the pyramid. It is so drafty there, and the air quality is so aggravating, and it's so hard to decorate with all the stone penises around.
Well, there's that. So hey, Dottie.
Hi, Dottie.
So Shannon has a fun question.
Yes, people could start suing for having their videos taken down. So that would be it. See, they opened 230 covers them from protection on all sides, so they can get sued they could be sued in all directions.
Yeah, well, and it would depend upon. It would probably have to, because you still have a legal barrier to overcome,
right?
Which is going to be proving damages,
right?
Just because they take your video down doesn't mean it damaged you.
Right.
Like, you still have to show you were harmed meaningfully.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't necessarily be that you lost out on views, you lost out on, getting money from those views.
Right.
Like, that's part of the platform. That's not part of the video, or the company or the person being quote unquote harmed.
Right.
But check with your legal advice. That may be a little different than I think, but fundamentally that's been the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Is that no, just because you didn't get views, just because your video, because I know that, like, if you because I generally think you cannot sue someone for falsely reporting a video,
Mm-hmm.
causing it to be momentarily taken down.
Yep.
Pending review, pending whatever.
Right.
You can't sue them for lost revenue and traffic. That's
Right.
not considered a damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that actually is a very effective tool.
Mm-hmm.
That's been used regardless of who you are, but is fundamentally a useful tool for sometimes suppressing a message.
Right.
Is to just bombard the service and again make them have the moment of
Right.
which one's easier.
Right.
Continue getting bombarded or just take the shit down.
Right.
So yeah, but there is a potential if it does legitimately cause harm.
Mm-hmm.
You could very much have a case.
Yeah.
That if it somehow tarnishes you or your brand,
mm-hmm.
Then yeah, you could have a case.
Right. All right, so let's move into your private thing.
Alrighty, let's see which one.
Your private chat. There's a one there. I can cover Candace.
Okay, so C-list homophobe Candace Cameron Bure hopes new gay-denying film gets viewers to turn to Jesus. Oh, Lord. Now that she's made the hop over to her Great American Family Programming Network, holiday movie has been, Candace Cameron Bure is ready to live her conversion therapy via film fantasy. Just a couple months after her public scrap with the Princess Diana of Gen Z lesbians JoJo Siwa, Bure is back to her loud Christ-first messaging. The actress is currently repping the new film Jesus Revolution, which Roger Ebert has given a measured, well-considered 2-star rating. As opposed to Ebert's site, Bure has total confidence in the film. She recently reposted the trailer to Instagram, saying that it could be the evangelical push audiences need to, quote, turn to Jesus. Yeah. Christianity is in no way exclusive from queer identity if you're doing it right. But as we've observed through her, quote, traditional marriage comments, not to mention her slamming a man for contracting HIV, we have to assume her brand of Christian isn't rolling with the, I like it, isn't rolling, with the LGBT. The movies she's repping is entirely free of LGBTQ presence on screen anyway. This is curious, as one of the film's most prominent characters, Lonnie Frisbee, was well known to be gay in real life, like the, quote, open secret denied by other Christians for it kind of Christian gay.
Mm-hmm.
His sexuality is totally inextricable from his life story all the way to the end, as he passed away due to AIDS-related complications in the early 90s. Jesus Revolution wasn't feeling that vibe, we guess. Maybe that's why faith-based publication Religion Unplugged refers to the film as, quote, too dishonest to inspire a true vision. Ouch. Even though it's covering up the facts, glossing over events, and occasional total fabrications, Bure has total confidence that the film will be used for his glory. In reality, the King of all kings can probably do a little better than this 2-star production. Even with Kelsey Grammer and good Lord, Kelsey Grammer. Even with Kelsey Grammer in the cast, somehow a late production replacement for Jim Gaffigan, this film might have trouble going up against Cocaine Bear this weekend. Both films are probably on the same level of sensationalizing events, but at least the Bear one looks fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this is continual, like, conversion therapy.
Yeah,
the practice
basically.
band.
I'm sorry. I'm just realizing Kelsey Grammer's career is just basically over.
Yeah.
Oh, you got Lionsgate to release that? Good God. Really? Lionsgate? Seriously? Come on.
Yeah. I think that they will pull it very quickly.
Yeah, I don't see this being a very, wonderful film. Although, then again, I don't watch enough, Hallmark, I'm guessing?
It's Hallmark.
Yeah, that she hopped over from.
Right. She had to leave The View because The View was suppressing her views.
Okay.
Next, she'll be
By
producing a
suppressing
documentary
your
on the
views,
KKK.
Pardon?
Next, she'll be producing a documentary on the KKK. I am so aggravated with this person.
Okay.
Okay. We literally, as a generation, supported her through Full House and pushed for her to come back and made her a damn star, and then she becomes a racist.
Oh, yeah, basically. I'm sorry, is that who that is? That's,
Mhm.
Oh.
It's
Oh!
Full House.
That's who that is. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, got it now. Yeah, Full House. Yeah, she's done a lot of stuff.
All the Hallmark
Oh,
films.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it adds more to your don't meet your idols.
Don't meet them. Don't share political views with them. Don't pay attention to them. Plan to never view them on your television again.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what happens to I really try to understand what actually happens to some actors over the course of their career that they just go so off the rails. Because I don't think it's drug use.
Oh, I think that she's a nutcase. I agree with Shannon here.
Oh, okay. She's as big a nutcase as her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cameron, I should have caught it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Exactly.
Well, I guess every family has to have a bonding experience. So,
Well, true. Insanity apparently can be one.
Well, shared mass delusion.
I think shared ambient cocaine abuse, but, that's just me. Now, in good shows, and one you might want to tune into, somebody I used to know is polyamorous bait switch.
Oh, well, now hold on. Before you moved on to that one, I do have to say. They're up against Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
I mean, so it can't be cocaine. I
got to see what Cocaine Bear is about.
Oh. So, okay, we'll go ahead and read this one real quick. So this weekend, horror comedy Cocaine Bear comes roaring into theaters, and it just might be the camp masterpiece we've been waiting for since M3GAN slayed the dolls back in January. Unlike that killer AI glam bot, Cocaine Bear is actually based on a true story, believe it or not. Unsurprisingly, creative liberties were taken. As the tale goes, in 1985, a disgraced former narcotics officer and convicted drug smuggler by the name of Andrew C. Thornton II was flying over Georgia when he dropped a duffel bag of cocaine out of the plane. Apparently, he jumped out to retrieve it, but due to a faulty parachute, died upon landing. 3 months later, a large American black bear was found dead in northern Georgia next to a pile of 40 opened plastic containers of cocaine. Clearly, the bear found Thornton's stash and overdosed. Now, the real bear isn't known to have killed anyone after ingesting the drug, but Cocaine Bear imagines what might have happened if he went on a cocaine-fueled rampage, mauling anyone in his path. As gruesome as that might sound, Cocaine Bear definitely has a sense of humor about itself, leaning into the absurdity. After all, it's directed by actress Elizabeth Banks, who's best known for bringing big laughs to the Pitch Perfect series, 30 Rock, and even The Hunger Games. Banks has assembled one hell of a cast too, including Carrie Felicity Russell as our protagonist, Queerty favorite Jessie Tyler Ferguson, esteemed character actress Margot Martindale, queer star on the rise Aaron Holiday, who's about to become everyone's new crush, and the late Ray Liotta in one of his final on-screen roles. All of that is to say, yes, we'll be there opening night, like I'm guessing Megan, M3, Gan, whatever. Before it, Cocaine Bear's self-aware blend of scares and laughs is the perfect recipe to get the gays excited. But before the movie has even opened, Twitter is already ready to declare the Cocaine Bear our next gay icon.
That'll work. That'll work.
Fair enough. I would go see Cocaine Bear.
I'm just waiting for the porn to come out about it.
I think I've already seen that one.
Okay.
Anywho. Good grief. Oh,
true. I mean, mail.com is probably already in production.
I'm pretty sure at some point that one's already come out. But yeah, if I'm faced with a choice between Jesus Revolution and Cocaine Bear, you had me at Cocaine Bear.
Yep.
Like, and I wouldn't even get upset that it's like, wait, that's an actual bear. I would have a moment with it. I would have a moment. Oh, it's an actual bear? Ooh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm sorry, if I see a movie titled Cocaine Bear, I figure the hairiest actor on set is going to be Ron Jeremy, who you will also know from cult favorite Bloody Bible Camp. He actually had a real role, and it's not porn.
Wow.
I know.
So we're saying maybe I need to watch Bloody Bible Camp.
All right. Does anyone need to watch it? No. But if you get an opportunity and you have literally nothing else to do, it is funny.
Is this one we need to order me thin crust pizza for?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So somebody I used to know is a poly bait and switch. What the Hades?
Oh yeah. So all right. So weddings. We all remember them fondly, right? They provide the chance for loved ones to come together, unexpected reconnections between former flames, nude sprints through golf courses, and the potential collapse of the engagement entirely. Well, those last few might be something that could happen in the charming Oregon-filmed romantic comedy Somebody I Used to Know, but you get the idea. Written by Alison Brie, who also stars, and David Franco, who also directs, Somebody I Used to Know is actually the second film the duo have made in the Beaver State. Their previous film, the 2020 thriller The Rental, was shot in Bandon and Portland. It's okay if you don't remember that one, as it wasn't very good, despite having a promising start. The latest Brie Franco effort could not be more different in terms of tone. While both this film and their previous one build off the subsequent subvert a classic premise, what makes Somebody I Used to Know work where The Rental did not is its substance and abundantly silliness. Even as there are some stilted moments, the charm of the cast carries through to the end. It kicks off with Allie, Brie, returning home to Leavenworth, disillusioned with her work as a reality television producer. Down in the dumps, she runs into her ex-boyfriend, Sean J. Ellis, whose suave yet chaotic demeanor recalls Ellis Lawrence character on Insecure. So, yeah. So the two catch up, roam around town, share what they missed about each other, and Allie wonders if she should give their relationship another shot. This is complicated when she learns Sean is about to marry infinitely cool Cassidy, Kiersey Clemens. Allie is understandably surprised, but she decides to become part of the wedding to get close to Sean. Yeah. All right. So I don't want to give the whole movie away, and I think it just kind of goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's enough to get people to go, do you want to see that?
Well, do you find that it's starting to come up in film?
Well, yeah. I think rerun the question because I had multiple
Do you find it
reactions.
surprisingly that Polly is coming up in film now?
Okay, surprising, hell no. The way that it's going to be coming up, very much so.
Yeah.
Well, and also not, because then again, this is kind of what we did. I think we're going to see the poly evolution that Gay went through.
Okay.
That, you go through the phase where you can't say gay. Mm-hmm. You can have gay, but they have to be the butt of every joke and die in the end. Mm-hmm. You can say gay, but your character has to have a tragic end somehow. Mm-hmm. Like, then you go through the, more queer baiting of characters. Mm-hmm. And then eventually somehow, right, you get a real honest to God television show or movie that actually deals with the subject mm-hmm. as part of a story without making it a total disaster.
Right.
And then we all go, oh, finally. I mean, and for LGBTQ, that's taken a while.
Yeah. 40 years.
Yeah. Granted, intervening in there, but 40 years, oh, please, no, start over. It really ended up taking almost, I'm going to say 75 to 80.
I don't know. The Countess came out in 32.
Yeah, but there were movies before that one.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to remember, The Celluloid Closet goes into that. It's a really great movie about movies. It's a very meta movie. Right. Not in the Facebook way, but in the, like, it's a movie about gay film. Uh-huh. And I'm trying to remember what the technical first gay... Oh, there we go. History of Homosexuality in American Film. So let's see... Oh, technically the first notable suggestion on homosexuality on film was in 1895.
Okay.
When two men were shown dancing together in the William Kennedy Dixon motion picture, the Dixon experimental sound film, commonly labeled online and in 3 published books as The Gay Brothers. At the time, the men were not seen as queer or even flamboyant, but merely as acting fancifully. However, film critic Parker Tyler stated the scene shocked audiences with its subversion of conventional male behavior. So, yeah, during the late 19th century and into the 1920s and 30s, homosexuality was largely depicted through gender-based conventions and stereotypes. Oftentimes, male characters intended to be identified as gay were flamboyant, effeminate, humorous characters on film. Mm-hmm. The terms pansy and sissy became tagged to homosexuality and described a, quote, flowery, fussy, effeminate soul given to limp wrist and mincing steps.
Okay.
Welcome to 1920s and 30s gay cinema. Mm-hmm. Let's all swish.
Well, I guess, but can we go up and talk about DeWine and swish our way to his house and make him drink some water?
Sure. All right, we can do that.
Like, I think he needs to be drinking some tap water at this point. Like, where is his water glass here?
Oh, come on. You really want to have the moment from,
Yes.
Aaron Brockovich?
Yes.
Like, drink the water. We had it brought in specially from
Exactly.
Palatine. One of the best scenes on film, I got to admit. Like, for a very, like, figure it the fuck out.
Exactly. Show us that it's safe to drink.
Mm-hmm. All right. When Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced that municipal water in East Palestine showed no evidence of contamination from the train derailment and chemical spill, he relied on data from a Norfolk Southern contractor instead of state or local officials. Those results from the Columbian County General Health District came in a few hours later. Officials say the test confirmed data from the lab hired by the derailed train owners, but the final report still hadn't been released more than a week later. If the results they are showing are correct, then fine, drink the tap water, said Nicole Karn, an Ohio State University professor who manages the undergraduate chemistry lab. But, in her opinion, the results provided to the public so far don't show that conclusively. Water samples taken by a Norfolk Southern contractor. When an incident like this occurs, it is very common for the responsible party to bring in private contractors to assist with environmental data gathering and analysis, Ohio EPA spokesman Heidi Gressmer said. So Norfolk Southern hired AECOM, a Dallas-based consulting firm, to collect water samples, and Canton-based Eurofence Test America Laboratories for testing. AECOM collected water from 5 municipal wells and a sample of treated municipal water on February 10th. The preliminary results, which the governor relied upon, said, quote, there is no indication of risk to East Palestine public water customers, end quote. And Gressmer said she trusts those results. Eurofin is a nationally accredited lab, which gives us confidence in the validity and accuracy of its results. Karn, however, said both the preliminary and final reports from Eurofins released last weekend show, quote, concerning details about how the water samples were collected. First, the pH balance of on 5 of the 6 samples in the preliminary report was wrong. There is a certain protocol that the EPA has deemed necessary for the analysis of these volatile organic compounds, and one of those parameters is that the water is acidic. Lowering the water's pH with acid helps keep certain chemicals like vinyl chloride from reverting back to gas. If the solution isn't acidic enough, Kern said, those gases could escape when the samples are opened and skew the results. The second problem she saw was the air bubbles in some of the samples. The bubbles cause the same problem as the pH being off, in that they create a space for chemicals that naturally want to be gases to go to. When the sample is open, those gases dissipate and the water can test cleaner than it actually is. It's very possible that we will end up getting the same results if sampling is done exactly as specified, Karn said, but we don't know that for sure. Oh, but both Ohio EPA and Norfolk Southern have disputed claims that these samples might not be accurate. We have confidence because we are following standardized U.S. EPA sample collection and analysis method, Gressmer said. And Norfolk Southern told Huffington Post that the preliminary results contain erroneous information about the acidity of the samples, and it asked Eurofins to rerun the samples for the final report. Quote, the lab did not update the comments to note the retesting and erroneously included the comments from the initial test, spokesman Connor Spielmaker wrote in an email to Huffington Post. But the final report still showed air bubbles and an incorrect pH in one of the samples. Karn also took issue with the list of chemicals Norfolk Southern tested for. 3 chemicals listed as cargo on its train, diethylene glycol, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and ethylene glycol monobutyl ether were not on the water testing reports. The reports didn't show testing for dioxins either. So they go on to ask, what are vinyl chloride and isobutylene? These potentially carcinogenic compounds weren't on the train, but Karn said they could have been formed upon combustion of the vinyl chloride. More testing should be done, Karn said, and that's sort of the main thing. We need to make sure samples are collected properly so we have more faith in the results we're seeing. All right. And so someone from the Columbiana County Health District or Ohio EPA accompanied the private collector when they went to the well and collected their own samples. Quote, we have received those results from Columbiana County, and they are consistent with the contractor's results, both showing no contaminants associated with the derailment, Resmer said.
Mm-hmm.
But those results are not available to the public.
Exactly. I smell cover up, and it's like this picture of them supposedly drinking water. Where'd that water come from? What tap did it come from? Why is there not film of that water being done? And then we see pictures of what the water looks like.
Oh, this is turning into a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the U.S. EPA is not testing the water in East Palestine, nor was data from the federal agency used by DeWine when he told the town's residents that their municipal water was safe to drink. But the website created by Norfolk Southern after the derailment said, quote, results from the U.S. EPA's continuous water testing of the East Palestine municipal well have shown no water quality concerns. And based on test results, Governor DeWine issued a press release stating the municipal water is safe to consume. That statement is incorrect, according to both Tierney and Griesmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Contaminants found in the sulfur run, experts to the water testing results in the sulfur run in a creek in East PA, Ohio, says was grossly contaminated by the train's derailment. The creek normally flows through a number of other waterways before emptying into the Ohio River. The contaminated section is being blocked off while crews work to clean it up. The environmental teams are teaching the impact potential of the sulfur run with brooms, algorithms, and carbon filtration units.
Yeah, technically those are blooms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, booms, excuse me, with booms, aeration, and carbon filtration units. Sorry. Yeah. So they're doing everything they can to take something the size of Sulphur Run and run it through a Brita filter.
Mm-hmm.
To pull out as much contamination as they can.
Right. Residents have seen dead fish and report symptoms of headaches, dizziness, rashes, eye irritation, and lawsuits are already being filed and should be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Like everyone in the 3 states should sue the hell out of them.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, people are hearing and saying, oh my God, there is no way this is safe. How could they have let us back? Tierney said.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason why Ohio EPA will continue to test the water. One thing government can do to reassure them is just constantly test and show we're not seeing anything. Oh, so now the future in East Palestine, chemicals can take time to work their way down through the soil and into underground wells like the ones that feed municipal water supply in East Palestine. Quote, our groundwater moves really slowly, said Linda Weavers, the co-director of the Ohio Water Resources Center at Ohio State University. So ongoing testing may be necessary. Tierney told the USA Today Network Ohio Bureau that all the experts told us there was just not enough time in the worst case scenario for the chemicals to have traveled from the contamination site into the groundwater and to the water supply. But residents of East Palestine and scientists have raised concerns about whether particulates that were spread during the controlled burn may seep into the village's water supply in the future.
Especially since vinyl chloride is highly flammable, potentially an explosive gas that can cause potential damage to liver, skin, and neurological systems, according to the Central Disease Control and Prevention. This is why Ohio has decided to burn off rather than wait to see if the rail train cars would explode. The burning off caused another hazardous chemical throughout, and it called potentially, and people have correctly noted its use as a chemical weapon in World War I.
Yeah, that chemical is phosgene. Phosgene. So the particles that landed on non-liquid surfaces have a tendency to want to get back in the air, Weaver said, but chemicals that migrate down to the water table can stick around for a long time. State Democrats are calling for ongoing testing for the residents of East Palestine, and hearings are expected to start next week in the Ohio Senate. Quote, we need to be with the people of East Palestine for the long term because this is going to be long term, Representative Lauren McNally, D. Youngstown said. So yeah, it basically goes on to keep saying that, well, we haven't detected anything. Though we come down to still, Karn said she personally wouldn't drink the municipal tap water in East Palestine yet. Quote, it's just part of me being a little bit skeptical, she said, but I would be drinking bottled water until I see more results.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. We still don't have Flint, Michigan cleared up. And it took them years to fucking come out and say that Flint, Michigan had a problem.
Yes.
This is the same people. This is the same freaking cover-up.
Well, and sometimes there really can be a delay, like they're alluding to could happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the event occurred and your first instinct is, oh my God, is the water okay? And it's like, well, the water's okay right now.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially, the water could still be okay in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, whatever. Our groundwater system is a form of natural filtration.
Mm-hmm.
Like that water seeps down, moves through different layers of sediment, and it works like the slowest Brita filter ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes forever for that water to get down. Not really. It just takes a long time.
It does.
But there's no guarantees there as to whether or not, and nor do you want to rely upon the idea that that your ground soil process is going to chemically erase or dilute any chemical contamination, because you can still chemically contaminate groundwater into a local water table.
Right. Well, and then you even have to go further, because if this goes to the Ohio River, that means it runs to the Mississippi. The Mississippi runs all the way down. I mean, this could pop up anywhere at this standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. So do not drink the tap water. Do not believe your scientists until you have confirmed evidence from the U.S. EPA, not the state-ran one, because, of course, the EPA witnessed what happened with the health department.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to note that by no means means that if you run East Palestine water through a Brita filter, you will be protected. I don't want to give anyone that illusion or start that as a rumor. I'm just explaining the process as simply as possible.
Right.
Just in case anyone gets the right idea that they can drink the East Palestine tap water with a Brita filter.
Right.
No. That is not what Joe said.
Right. No, not even close. All right, guys, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be giving some poly advice and finding out if Joe's an asshole.
Oh, I'm sure I will be the asshole again this week. You love that part.
We'll see. We'll see. You had a running streak there.
All right. I know.
Welcome back, goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TRACYVANN.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight and some of the best psychics in West Virginia to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonnight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site. Great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy.
All right. So, launch right into it?
Launch right into it. Plead your case.
All right. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my nephew the truth that no one in the family likes him? This involves me, 25 male, and my sister, Diana. My sister, Diana, 31 female, and her son, Darius, 10 male. I get along with my sister Diana fine. I won't pretend I like Darius. I think he's an entitled brat who has gotten away with crap far too many times. I don't think Diana has ever reprimanded him, and every time the little shit acts up, Diana makes excuses for him. He's already been suspended from school for stealing, he's a bully to all his cousins, and I know for a fact no one in my family likes him at all. But both of my parents cannot stand him. My mother, a woman who could find the love in her heart to babysit a honey badger, refuses to watch Darius at all. I'm going to start using that. My mother, refuses to watch Darius at all because of his behavior. My father will take all the grandkids out to fish every few months, except for Darius because he's too tempted to throw him out into the lake and drive off. His words, not mine.
I might start using that.
All right. On Monday, I got a call from my sister who panicked because she got called into work. Darius was out of school and her babysitter was not available. No one else in the family will watch Darius, so I told her to drop him off and I would watch him. It was a nightmare. Darius was mad he had to spend his day off at my place. He refused to do anything I offered, made a mess in my bathroom, harassed my dog, and had a tantrum because I would not let him use my work computer to play games. By lunchtime, I was frustrated beyond all belief. I made him macaroni and cheese, and he demanded I take him to Wendy's. He refused to eat and eventually dumped his bowl of food on my floor. At that, I just kind of lost it. I didn't yell or get aggressive at all. I just sighed and asked him if he realized that everyone in the family literally despised him. I explained that he was at my house because Grandma and Grandpa cannot stand him, and in fact, refused to let him come to their house because he acts like a little shit. I won't lie, I got pretty brutal. He started crying and locked himself in my bathroom until he came out and sat and watched TV till my sister came and got him. I told her what happened, and her and I got into a massive argument as well. She called me cruel, and I told her that she's to blame and he would have learned eventually. My family is split on this. My dad thinks the little shit deserved it, in quotes, while my siblings have mixed opinions. My mother has told me she's staying out of this, but if I feel the need to apologize, do it and move on. What do you people think? Is he the asshole?
In my opinion, no. In my other opinion, I would have busted the child's ass when he made a mess in my bathroom. I don't care who the hell he is.
Well, I'm actually, because I had already, and I started to find a different one that I was like, I really kind of like that one because I liked it enough to actually comment.
Oh.
I say, you're the asshole. He's 10 and his problems are clearly, as you stated, attributable to your sister. He acts how he acts because how he acts is tolerated and to some degree encouraged by how your sister has chosen to raise him. Encouraged in the sense that if she's consistently giving into demands or he is ultimately getting what he wants from his behavior, he's further learning to keep doing it more and more often. And it's not that the family despises him and can't stand him, but his behavior. And arguably, as exhausting as his visit sounds, I can tell he gets it honest. You're an adult who had a tantrum on a child, and because you hope it will get you what you want, you don't feel compelled to apologize and take the opportunity to let it be a learning lesson for your nephew that we all have the capacity to behave badly, that there are consequences for that, and what's most important is understanding when we have done what we need to apologize sincerely and learn from the mistakes so we can be better in the future. I understand that this verbal assault was cathartic and that the tension Diana through Darius has created in your lives is palpable. The fact remains, he's a child. And no child, regardless of behavior, should be told they, personally, are hated, unwanted, despised, unwelcome, and disliked. You, in fact, do not, quote, get along fine, end quote, with Diana, as she is the one who has created this situation that none of you can stand, robbing you and the rest of your family from having a connection with Darius, as his unchecked behavior that is intolerable makes spending time with him, the person, impossible. Your anger needs to be at the behavior, and your communication needs to be with his mother, and your efforts to help resolve that need to be with Darius. As no adult in his life is willing to take on the behavior, you're all complicit at this point in Deanna's mistakes as a parent, and you've effectively chosen to throw Darius to the wolves.
I can see your viewpoint. My viewpoint is, and kids do this, they act good around me. I treat them like adults. They make decisions. They get the punishments.
Well, and I can kind of understand yours, which is more to the point, deal with the behavior, bust his ass.
Right.
Not that I necessarily think that's the greatest way to solve all problems, but at least your response was to bust his ass.
Yeah.
Which deals with the behavior and consequences for bad behavior, but does not address him as this horrible being that no one likes and make it all about the person, not the behavior.
Right. Now, I think the mother should be took out to the woodshed and whipped until, I don't know, 3 or 4 switches break, in my opinion. When you allow children to run around improperly supervised, improperly cared for, improperly taught that actions have consequences, all you're doing is raising a future terrorist.
Well, he's already, in a sense, acting, terroristically. I mean, he's beating up his cousins. He's stealing at school. He's like, he's a baby terrorist.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Right.
And no, it's not going to get better on its own. Your sister, whom it sounds like your family has tried to talk to, isn't getting the message,
right,
or isn't caring about the message, or is so overwhelmed in this situation, she doesn't know how to fix it.
Well, it starts with the corner.
Well, what I more so think is that it starts with, you need to figure out what she needs to be able to fix it.
I know exactly what she needs. 10 years old. Okay, 10-year-old. She needs that chair in my living room that we used for a plant stand.
Okay.
Put it in a corner. Darius, go to the corner.
And that may be, and getting her on board with that and seeing the value of that may be all she needs. I don't know that this isn't rising to the point of, like, the further this goes along, the more this is parental neglect. And I don't see a problem at certain points, as much as everyone hates the idea of going, it's time for child protective. You're creating a future problem through your neglect as a parent to raise this child. I don't see it any different at the level of behavior problem, any different in my mind than not feeding a kid, not getting a kid medical attention. If you're raising a child that is fundamentally going to be unable to function in society at all, through no fault of, or no, I don't want to say defect, that sounds horrible, but fundamentally no fault of his own, as in he is not cognitively impaired that we know of. He is not in any way incapable of learning better behavior. No one's actively engaging him in it.
Right.
And more to the point, the whole family has decided it's easier, or it's somehow appropriate, to take out his bad behavior on him for the thing he doesn't know better than to do. I'm sorry. I cannot follow that. I cannot logic my way through that. It to me, it would be the same as, like, beating the hell out of a child because they burped. Like, how it's a bodily function. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? I understand children and, like, burps and farts, and they can get kind of nuts with it, and it can, be enough to make you want to scream. I get that part. It's bad behavior, or can become very bad behavior. But just because they do the thing, you as a parent have to teach them that, okay, one, there are certain things you do when that occurs, like say, excuse me, and or, try to leave the crowded area and take care of that bodily function. But if you don't ever teach a child that these things are what you do, and then you just want to, throw him in the water and drive off, I got a problem. I got a real problem.
Well, I have a real problem because that's a grandfather. And he should have grabbed his daughter by the ear took her out to the woodshed and reminded her what discipline is.
You know, I mean, I really, but then again, there's no telling.
Right.
Like, I think a lot of people that have problems disciplining their kids could easily have been abused themselves, and they really fear becoming that parent, like repeating the pattern.
Well, here's the thing, and you know, we have had this discussion that free range parenting, or it's been renamed now, gentle parenting. No.
Here's the thing, though. I think a lot of people get free range and gentle and whatever term it's going to go by next, parenting as a concept wrong.
Mm-hmm.
As in they think it's like you just don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the children will raise themselves. They will explore the world, learn new things, and raise themselves. No. Not how that works.
Right.
Not how that works.
Yeah.
These are mostly supposed to be approaches to children's behavior that actually teach them without screaming, yelling, and physically punishing the behavior. That's the theory.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that always works. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Stores.
Do what now?
That theory I've seen destroy a lot of stores.
I again think you're seeing it poorly implemented. That there's the disconnect with what it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to work, and parents thinking that you just let your children run wild,
right? And
you don't even try to correct them,
right?
Those are two vastly different concepts. I think you can be, strong and forceful and a disciplinarian without, screaming, yelling, and physically assaulting a child. To whatever extent that works.
Right.
Because again, I think that works for a number of children. I don't know that inherently always works for every child ever imaginable. And that, maybe, like there are certain children that just aren't going to get it, but popping them on the butt will do it. Again, if you do that non-abusively, but just enough to like make the link between you did something wrong, now you're suffering for it. Okay, made the link. Don't do that. Don't get that. Got it. It's generally a recommended punishment for kids who don't really have the mental capacity,
right?
Age-wise, like they're developmentally at a stage, they're not really understanding the world yet, but they can link two things together. I did this and I got hurt.
Right.
I did this and I got hurt. I did this and I got hurt. It's the same thing as, touch the eye of the stove. Ow! Don't touch the eye of the stove. General concepts. Right. So in that regard, like, yeah, it makes sense for small children who just intellectually aren't there yet.
Right.
If you're still doing this at 15, your child is either in trouble intellectually, and there's a lot going on there that needs to be addressed, or you're really using a punishment intended for very small children on a damn near grown adult, like very close to it. Just saying.
I know. All right, so the poll is up on Aeson Knight's YouTube for you to vote on whether Joe's the asshole or not.
Yes.
So let's move on to poly advice. This one's interesting.
All right, just 1 second. I did not catch that coming in. Oh, shower after sex with other partners, even for a peck on the lip. What? Shower after sex with other partners, even for a peck on the lips. Okay, I thought I just didn't read that right.
Nope,
my partner knows I'd like him to shower if he's coming to snuggle or hang out with me after sex with another partner. It's a boundary of mine, and we've discussed it. He is sleeping with a woman tonight. Tomorrow he is going to the gym in the morning and meeting me directly after. Not to hang, but just to help a friend move some furniture. The question/problem. A, don't want to smell her on his beard if he hasn't showered, and he is super likely not to shower because he is the kind of guy that thinks a shower a day is too much. B, I really don't want to make a big deal of him hooking up with someone else. We just worked through a lot of my anxiety and jealousy, and I'm feeling good and really don't mind that he is fucking someone. I just don't want to smell her. Am I an asshole if I meet up with him tomorrow and ask him if he showered last night before I kiss him? I don't want him to think I'm triggered by the hookup, but this is a boundary he knows. I just don't know if he will think about following it since we aren't planning to really be physical together tomorrow, though.
Okay. I have a few questionable problems here.
Okay.
One, he's going to the gym before meeting you. Any sane, logical person knows that when you go to the gym, you hit the showers. Either way it goes. Secondly, why have you not provided him with beard oils that you can lovingly look at him and go, honey, did you put your beard oil in today? It's not looking like you did if you think he hasn't.
Okay.
Like, these are things you make inclusive to boundaries to make it easier for your partner.
See, here's my thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only way you make that boundary really work in the relationship is not to sit here and nag him about what he's done, but make it about what happens when he doesn't. And make it very, very clear that what intimate means and what, so that he has no idea in his head that would contradict that. So if you go to leave, because right now you're focusing on, I don't want to smell her. Fair enough. I don't want to, no. Okay, fair enough. What you really have to do is, if I smell her, then what do I do? Like, just assume it's going to happen. And if that's the case, you need to be prepared to go, nope, I'm sorry, I have a boundary here. You know what that boundary is, and not happening.
Right.
So now he has the opportunity to go, okay, here's what goes down. Either I take it very seriously that she means go get a shower, or I have to make my own peace with she's not going to get anywhere near me until I take one. So I think it's a lose the battle, win the war moment.
Right.
Is instead of trying to nag the behavior you want,
right,
go ahead and wait for it to happen this one time and see if you can break that before it begins. Because right now you're assuming he's guilty till proven innocent.
Right.
Assume he's innocent till proven guilty, and I think that'll go a lot better.
Right. But also, enabling. And I still, are you dating a wolf? Are you dating somebody that, takes dust baths?
No. I think it's someone who thinks, I can shower every other day.
No.
I'm assuming this is the kind of dude that picks, jeans up off the floor, gives them a sniff test, and then, good enough, I'll put them on again.
Right.
Like day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. Poor unfortunate unwashed jeans. Right. He just really doesn't. It doesn't bother him, and he doesn't necessarily understand that. Well, it can bother other people,
right?
Especially people who are really sensitive,
right?
Which it sounds like girlfriend is. Like, at least reasonably so, that it's like, I don't want to smell your other girlfriend. I just, nope, don't want to smell her cologne, perfume, or general house. I none of it. Like, I want you to take a shower, brush your teeth, and then consider coming over.
Yeah.
I go, not unreasonable.
Yeah. And, you know, and she even comments later, yeah, he goes to the gym and yoga classes, and no, you're dating a Neanderthal. Send him to the shower as soon as you see him.
I mean, you can do downward doggy and still have knuckles that drag the ground. It's not mutually exclusive.
Again, no. Nasty. Nasty.
Downward facing dog. Sorry, I misnamed the post.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
That's kind of nasty. Yeah. But you know, he's well, see, we don't get ages on this one. Like, I have a sneaking suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those guys in high school that like no one, like the whole class did not shower after gym, and they just went to class, and then you're sitting in class with these people, and it's like, in addition to there's also the like, oh my god, you're hormonally at a point in which you already reek.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sorry, teenage boys, whoa, that's a smell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I survived that period of life just being one around other ones, because even I'm sitting there going, you people are nasty.
Yeah.
Like, blah. Like, you could kill a bloodhound, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you could kill a bloodhound.
Right. All right, let's see. Yep, they're agreeing with you.
Oh, he is the asshole. Hey, that's supposed to make you happy. You like calling me the asshole.
No, they're agreeing with you that he is the asshole.
Yes, I'm the asshole.
No, they voted again. They're agreeing with you. So you win again tonight.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I never counted it as they were agreeing with me or not. I was just going, if they vote you're the asshole, I'm the asshole. If they vote not the asshole, then I'm not the asshole and I'm safe for another week.
All right. So let's thank our patrons.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to support the show, find out more about us and how you can become a barista and receive all the wonderful benefits our Patreon sponsors receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
And just a reminder, there are tickets available still for the gallery tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Psychic Saturday. And I'll be on Keen later.
Yes, and you got energy overviews too.
Yes, energy overviews will be on tomorrow night too. It's a busy, busy day.
All
right, guys, you have a great evening. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.